Yep. Nice and easy. We're done with that though. Isn't the jump rope? Yeah. Whenever I skip rope, I can't use these wireless headphones. They fall right out of my ears. So of course, it would be helpful if I could get the rope itself not to fall out of my hands. Finish my protein shake, then we'll hit this. New name, who this? Yes, sir. For those of you who don't know me, my name is BullMuscle. For those of you who know me as Beer Battered Aggie, yes, I'm going through a rebrand. This seems like a pretty good time to talk about that, so let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm a die-hard Aggie.
The eyes of Texas are upon you. That is the song they sing so well. Sounds like hell! So goodbye to Texas University. We're gonna beat you all to chigga-roo-ga-rum, rough, tough, real stuff, Texas A&M. Goodbye.
We get a little bit more all. So why can't I click all? Oh, yeah, there it goes. Nice. Alright, let's do one more bronze bar. Good morning, everyone. Welcome on in. How are we doing this fine Saturday morning here in the South? Let me just... I feel like my mic isn't getting picked up the way it should be. Testing. That's strange. Whatever. We'll figure it out later. Anyway, good morning, everyone. I'm your host, BullMuscle. Today we got ourselves a push day, so we'll be hitting chests, because I can, triceps, and shoulders. Actually, for this, I'm going to take this bad boy off. Keep an idea as to what the temp might be in here. Not for any real reason, but mostly because it's fun. A little bit of airflow, keep it cool in here. Actually, speaking of, sounds okay? All right, cool. It's strange. Maybe it's just the way that it's being represented on OBS's audio mixer. I couldn't tell if it was the actual mics or just my laptop mic. Whatever, not a big deal. As long as y'all can hear me clearly, that's enough. So, anyway, what are we gonna do today? So, as I said, it's a push day. However, I'm gonna do things a little bit differently than normal. Normally I start out with my big compound workout, my compound workout being bench. Today, I think we're gonna see how good our shoulders are feeling. I wanna try press, so we're gonna start there. We're gonna go accordingly. This is just a warm up, nothing crazy yet. If I'm starting off heavy on shoulders, really want to give them a little bit of time to warm up, get it right, better off that way. Because this bar is only 35 pounds, it's quite good to warm up on. So we're going to hit today, we're going to hit shoulder press, we'll hit dumbbell bench, might do a barbell incline. I'm not sure if I'll do barbell incline or dumbbell incline. I might do, we'll see. Today is gonna be, I believe, the last heavy day y'all will see with me until I come back from the break in November. The reason being that next week I'm gonna do a deload week. We're really reaching the end of the cut cycle, this little mini cut cycle, and I think a deload week would be good for me. I haven't done one in, gosh, years. So there's two main reasons for that. One, again, I think it's probably wise. The second reason is that I'm going out to Texas the last week of October. And I have a feeling I'm probably gonna be lifting with my bro, and frankly, I wanna ball the fuck out for that. So there you go. Yeah, we'll start with triceps extensions, I think. The bar is going to be set up for it anyway. Cool, okay. So I think we're going to try, I might try maxing out today. We're going to see how we feel at 135 or 125 and progress from there. It's kind of a nice thing. This is going to be my last heavy day. I was gonna do pull day yesterday, and then push tomorrow, push yesterday and then pull would have been today, but I just ended up having so much going on that I didn't. Did a lot of yard work, and then I had an appointment to get my car maintained. Sometimes life happens. I very, very seldom miss a workout. You know, that'll be the only missed workout I have in a span of months. You know, if you're having that happen every single week, you got to prioritize the gym a little bit higher. But every couple of months, it's gonna happen. You just got to get used to it. And push it as well. Subbing cable for bench though this morning. Okay. The cable flies are useful. I prefer to do cable stuff sort of at the end of my workout when I'm already sore. In general, I prefer barbell and dumbbell workouts as my heavier, more complete stuff, right? Because cables, there's a little bit less range of motion. Same with machines. There's a little bit less range of motion. With free weights, you have to work all your auxiliary stuff to balance it a little bit more than you would with cables. Phoenix, welcome on in. Good to see you. All right. So we're not going to do a full set here. I'm just going to do a couple reps. Again, this is to warm up. Good. Okay. It's always kind of hard to tell if you've got your headphones working or if it's going on the speaker. Obviously, you don't want speaker because then you get copyrighted. This bar's rusting pretty bad. Such is life in South Carolina. Speaking of, that's a mosquito. Fantastic. Easy. Lightweight. Yeah, I could rep that for a lot more. So, question is, how far do we want to go with this? And I think the answer is fairly far. So I'm going to start with 175. Just put it up for a 1 rep and see where we go. I should have 0 issues with this. This should go up very easily. Logos morning. So, my recent challenge has been weight. If you guys saw the title of this stream, you know, but my weight's been doing this. Hell, yesterday alone, in the span of 6 hours, I went from weighing 212, which means I basically lost nothing in my cut, to 207, which means I've lost 5 pounds in my cut. That's a huge swing, even on my standards. And a lot of it's water weight. But the problem is when you have swings like that, it makes it very difficult to figure out how much progress you're actually making. So there are some ways you can fix this. My favorite would be weigh yourself every day and keep a moving average. So a 7-day moving average give you much better data than picking a day at random. Now my Fridays are my official weigh-in days. It's just how I do things. But still, generally speaking, if you track the trends, it's better. Good to see you, Sandoval. Welcome on in. All right, we're just going to do 1 rep here again. This is kind of get prepped for our big one. This should be easy. You should have no problems doing this. Easy. No problems. All right, so that was 175. The question is, where do I want to go from here? That was So that was 175. It went up fairly easy. But that was a military press too. That was strict. My knees weren't moving. At least I don't think they were. If my knees were moving, if I push pressed that, please tell me. I don't think I did. But that was 175, and again, it went up pretty easy. So, miss you. Well, I mean, hey, I haven't. I've been here. Obviously, yesterday I wasn't, but again, I think that was the first time I've genuinely just missed a workout in months. All my other outages were planned. Yesterday, just life got in the way. And again, you really want to minimize how many times that happens. All right, that felt pretty good. I think I'm gonna try 205 and see what we do. This should be fairly difficult. This one I may be really straining to get. But 205 would be pretty good. If I can strict shoulder press, I mean, this is my own body weight, basically. So I weighed in at 206 this morning, so nears makes no difference. If I took a fatter poop, this would be 100% body weight. So that was gross. I shouldn't have said it in that manner. Anyway. So I don't want to push press this. I want to try and do this fairly strict. So I'm gonna psych myself up and we're gonna hit this. Deciding whether or not I want to wear my belt, honestly. I'm not sure there's much to be gained from it, other than any psychological benefits, maybe. That may not be a bad idea. But what would it hurt? It's a 1 rep, so it's not like I'm gonna need vast amounts of oxygen. I'm just gonna need enough to push it once. Everyone poops. Oh no, sometimes I do 2-3 times before working out. I don't know why. It just happens, but God damn. There is a mosquito in here. Speaking of mosquitoes, it's actually why I destroyed all the hedges in my front yard this morning. So all those hedges were sitting right next to my patio, and they actually looked quite pretty. I liked the way they looked. The problem is they were basically a giant apartment complex for mosquitoes, thousands of them. And naturally, that meant every time I stepped out my door, they'd fucking attack me. And I just got sick of it. So I've removed them. They're down to the stumps. I need to saw the stumps down further, put a tarp over it, and I think I'm gonna put rock on it. I was thinking about planting like marigolds or other mosquito repellent bushes, but I think for simplicity's sake, the nice thing with rock is you don't have to screw with it. It's done, it's over, and it'll hide the drainage pipe a little bit better. So there's a drainage pipe that runs from my gutter down and across those hedges. So I think rocks will be a pretty good way to bury that. Not even bury that, but obscure it perhaps. So that's my plan. Sherry, good morning. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so this is 205. I should be able to get this. I think I have gotten this in the past. I forget what my PR on shoulders is, but I've noticed my push has kind of been a little bit lower the last few weeks. I think the cut, it's interesting, right? So when you're on a cut cycle, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but this is interesting, at least to me, if nothing else. What is this? Is this herbicide? No, it's pesticide. Okay. I was going to say, if it's herbicide, I can save myself a trip to the store. I do need some herbicide, though, to kill off those stumps. Anyway, what was I saying? So I've noticed, for me anyway, when I do a cut, I can focus on one area of my body, but inevitably the other areas are going to suffer. What does that mean? Well, I've noticed my bench has kind of declined a little bit the last few months. Not a ton, but like where I was usually 8 to 9 repping 275 on bench, now it's 6 to 7 repping. And likewise for shoulders. And you know, and the reason for that is I've really been focusing on my lats, and I'm happy with the results. You can see my lats a lot better than you used to be able to. I feel like my lats have progressed quite a bit. I've noticed it, my rows are higher. Not a ton, but now, you know, where I could normally comfortably rep 155 for a set of 10 clean, now I can do that with 175. So I'm happy with that. But, you know, ultimately, making the numbers go up at my level of fitness gets very difficult to do on a cut. Anyway, I need to psych myself up and then we're gonna fucking hit this, okay? So, you have to excuse me while I put on the right song for it. Okay, so this is 205. Strong like bull. 35, 125, 175, 205. Let's do this. I got it. I took it off wrong though. I got that. I gotta give myself a little bit more. I think I got that. I'm definitely not as strong as I would like to be though. No. Nah. We got a long workout ahead of us. Sometimes it's a feel thing. I'd rather get 195 and do it really strict. I don't want to fucking cheat myself. That's frustrating, but I'm gonna call that a fail. I quit on it early. I could have probably strained to get it up there, but I don't wanna risk injury. Not this far off from half my rows. So. It's disappointing though. I should have been able. 205 should go up easy. All right, let's try that again. Easy. Yeah. I want to do more with that, but that's just not smart. There's no point in maxing a shoulder day that early. I'll take it. We'll go down to 175, fuck around with that a little bit more. I wasn't bad. 195 is still pretty decent for a shoulder press. It's not my PR, but it'll do. I'm not gonna develop the rest. Probably didn't need it in the first place, but whatever. Not happy with that, but on the flip side, what I don't want to do is hurt myself on an ultimately meaningless day. Like, every workout has purpose, every workout has meaning, but like, I'll be hanging out with my bros in 2 weeks. I got a deload week next week. I want to fuck my shoulder up now and then suffer the consequences for the next 2 weeks. It's not worth it for one workout. So we'll go down weight. That's disappointing though. I should be able to fucking hit well over 200. Tally, good to see you. Welcome on in. All right, let's do this. Damn! What the fuck? I'm not happy with that. It's only 3. God damn. Alright. Shoulders are not as strong as I was hoping they'd be. I should have gotten 4 or 5 there. Okay, that's a wake-up call. That's bad. I don't like that. Not happy with that at all. Let's try 165. Not happy with that at all. Fuck. Hell yeah, Big Red. Fuck the Braves. They're a whiny ass fan base. Like, goddamn. True's right. How do you make Dodgers fans seem less whiny than you? Holy shit. Come on. No, I'm still not happy with that. That was 5. I'm gonna do a second set of that. Yeah. We're gonna make this a more shoulder intensive day. Not happy with that at all. Here's how I know. Okay, so at the end of my bulk cycle, I can show you the proof, or I've written it. At the end of my bulk cycle in February, I was repping 155 for sets of 10. That was 165 and I only got 5. That's not good. I got nothing further to say, Big Red. Took the words right out of my mouth. And by the way, Braves fans, most of you who are also Georgia fans, by the way, you've had 2 of the best years any sports fan could fucking ask for. Remember, Caesar, thou art mortal. Okay? If you lose a little bit every now and then, you're not gonna. You gotta be better. Be honest. Atlanta fans, y'all are terrible losers. Georgia fans, you're terrible losers. Okay? Stop acting like the world is fucking out to get you, right? Stop whining if you lose 1 game a year, or if you don't make the World Series. You have any idea
How many other fucking fan bases would want the success you've had, even a fraction of it? I'm an A&M fan and a Nationals fan, okay? I live for sports pain is basically what that means. And when 2019 happened, I still look at our performance this year, 5th in the NL East, and say, this season wasn't so bad. Drunken Philosophy, that's a great name. Welcome to the chat, welcome to the bullpen. Thank you for the first time chat, welcome on in. Glad to see you. But like, Atlanta fans, shut the fuck up. Right? You criticize Yankees and Dodgers fans for being whiny, spoiled, and entitled, and yet you show the world the exact same behavior. Stop it. I mean, I fucking hate the Braves because I'm a division rival, right? But you're better than, at least I used to think you were better than that. Maybe not. Yeah, we got Houston versus Texas. Middle of October, it's already getting cold, and yet the mosquitoes don't get any less aggressive. In fact, they try even more punk shit. Let's see. Sever says, go Rangers. Yeah, so regarding Texas versus Houston, so I have mixed feelings on this one. I have loads of friends who are both Astros and Rangers fans. On one hand, I appreciate how much Rangers fans have suffered. On the second hand, I think they deserved it because you stole the Senators from us in 1971. You know what you were getting. You saw how bad the Senators were. You saw that was a cursed team. And George W. Bush fucking took it from us anyway. So, don't have a ton of sympathy for Rangers fans, but I'm mostly willing to bury the hatchet on that one. That being said, you almost made me grow up a Baltimore fan, and that is unforgivable. As for Houston, trash can memes aside, I feel like they've paid their price at this point in terms of getting hated on. And as a Nationals fan, it's not like I give a shit, because even when they were cheating, we still beat them. Get good, Dodgers fans. That's all I'm going to say. Nah, it was 1971. The Twins are the original Senators. The Senators moved to Minnesota in 1961. We got a new team in 1962, had it for 9 years, and then that team became the Rangers in 1971. And then we went without a baseball franchise until 2005. So, again, you made me almost be a Baltimore fan growing up. So there is a little bit of resentment towards Rangers fans I have for that. But I can put that aside. Honestly, I just want to see it. I just want to see good baseball. Drunken Philosophy asked, did College Station explode or something? Was there last weekend? The traffic was beyond insane. Yes. A&M played Alabama last weekend. There were 108,000 people in Kyle Field, and as you might expect, that means a ton of people from all across the great state of Texas came to College Station. That would explain the traffic. You shouldn't be surprised by that. All the winning in the 90s made the Braves arrogant and entitled. Brad's going to get back to being the tire fighter in the 80s Brave. One can only hope. I'm telling you, some of these fan bases are really goddamn spoiled. I see the Rangers and their legacy of failure. I don't know. I think I might, of all the 4 teams left, I'm not rooting, I don't know. Basically anyone except for Philadelphia. Philadelphia I was rooting for Philadelphia because they were playing Atlanta, but I'm definitely rooting for Arizona now. I don't really want to see another NL East team besides the Nationals win it all. Houston versus Texas. Honestly, I'm hoping. I guess I'm gonna root for both teams to just have fun, because there's no animosity between me and either of those two teams. Not really. Not anymore. The Nationals have now been a franchise for almost 20 years, so I'm happy to drop it. But I do like bringing that up to Rangers fans who start getting uppity. Just be like, yo, I'm just saying I could hate on y'all, and I could have a very good reason for it. You just want to see the roomy salty? No, Philadelphia's a division rival. What did you expect? Would you want to see St. Louis or fucking Chicago win? No, of course you wouldn't. Or Pittsburgh. Anyway, let's get another set here. Too much chitter chatter. since I gave myself more time to rest, so it should follow that I got an extra rep. Let's move to 155. That's okay, I ain't got nowhere to be today. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't like that. Cubs fans were so very arrogant. I feel like the collapse has been justified. Yeah, what happened to the Rangers in 2011, that was painful. But again, you stole the Senators. What were you expecting? All right. Last heavy set. Come on. Strong like bull. Kind of push for a 7. I'll take it, that's 9. All right, let's move to 125. We're gonna go behind the neck. Fucking ego checking today. Numbers were shit. Don't blame the fans. The Rangers coming down to Texas. I'll blame whoever I want. Thank you very much. Nah, I'm kidding. I know that wasn't y'all's fault. It's just the fact the nation's capital got left without the nation's pastime for 35 years is a travesty. It's that simple. So while we wait, we're gonna give ourselves just a moment. For that, we're gonna hit. So this next one we're gonna do behind the neck press. So why do behind the neck press as opposed to your conventional shoulder press, right? The reason is because, so what are your shoulder muscles really? It's your front delts, your rear delts. So behind the neck press, you can hit your rears a little bit more. Who's more disliked in, ooh, that's a good question. Big Red, coming in here hot. That's a brutal question to ask, but a good one. Anyway, so we're gonna do that for a few more sets. And then we're gonna dive into chest, I suppose. What do I want to do though? Do I want to hit bench first? Yeah, I think I do. So I'm gonna do that. You two have that on the right level. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So the bench. Yeah. We don't like that. We'll hit. We'll hit bench, we'll hit incline, and we'll hit, I think, just some flies. Dodge, good to see you. You, I assume that means you're making your way out to Columbia. Cancellation prize 2006 and overlook carcass what was left of the Expos. Forgive the spice. Dude, okay, so I'm okay with getting the Expos. I wish we'd gotten an expansion team because I don't think Montreal deserved to be screwed over like that. And whatever expansion comes next, I will first and foremost say Montreal deserves a new team the most out of any city. Almost to the fair. Just have a Walgreens to see if I can go all day without pain. Good luck. Yeah, Dodger's been having some toothy gum aches. Been keeping her up, so poor thing. Hope you slept better. I was sleeping by the time you left. Anyway, but nah, I don't mind. I don't mind all that. But what I will say I have a problem with is fucking Peter Angelos. And let's get into my dislike of Baltimore. So in the 60s, the Senators, the team now, the franchise now known as the Rangers, openly advocated for Baltimore to get a Major League Baseball team because they thought it would be a really good rivalry. You know, Baltimore versus Washington. It's a close, you know, two very close cities. I think they're only 30, 35 miles apart, right? Well, that's what happened, and all of a sudden the Baltimore Orioles became a franchise. Fast forward 40-odd years, and there's only one MLB voter, only one MLB franchise voted against getting a team in Washington, and that was the Baltimore Orioles, which feels a bit like a stab in the back, and that's because it was. So fuck Peter Angelos, is really all I'm going to say about that. And I get it, not all Orioles fans, but you know what? Nah, sometimes I can hate on a team because of an owner. Hell, that's most of the reason I hate the Cowboys these days. I actually have a lot of friends who are Cowboys fans. I know a lot of people have a lot of downers about Cowboys fans, but what I've found is the only real asshole Cowboys fans are the Cowboys fans that don't live in the state of Texas. If you're from Texas and you're a Cowboys fan, for the most part, you're a reasonably well-adjusted individual. The worst Cowboys fans out there, I promise you, are the notorious East Coast Cowboys fan. We're talking about Cowboys fans in Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. If you're a Cowboys fan, you live in one of those states, especially if you also root for, I don't know, the Red Wings, the Lakers, and the Yankees, you're a terrible person. Oh no, Scooter's a clown regardless of where he lives. But that's also because he's a Florida fan. That goes deeper than just the pro levels. I dislike Jones immensely. Yeah, and now that Snyder sold the team, you now have the worst owner in the NFC East. Alright, let's do this. Come on. Alright, so this is behind the neck press. Work the rear delts. That was actually pretty good. Bad. I think we'll do a second set of that, and then we'll move on to bench. John Maher's doing jump, pissing on his grandfather's legacy. Oh, come on now. The Giants have won something in the 21st century. And you can argue that Jerry Jones is the reason the Cowboys haven't won anything. To be honest, like, if you look objectively, if you ignore what team it is, you look at all the playoff failures the Cowboys have had in the 21st century, you know, between the Romo slide and choke, you know, when he bobbled the snap, Dez in the catch, all these others, I wouldn't say the Cowboys are quite in like Vikings territory, but they have experienced an intense amount of pain. And like, I promise you, I'm not trying to gin up sympathy for the most obnoxious fan base in the NFL, but I will say, your average Cowboys fan in the 21st century has not had an easy go of things, right? Because this is a fan base that, for those same reasons, gets zero sympathy from everyone. Bull fans try working out watching a stream makes me try a little bit harder personally. Hell yeah. You're probably going a whole hell of a lot faster than I am. That's the trouble with live streaming my workouts. I get caught up in conversation and I don't actually, I go very slow. But it's also because all this talking depletes my oxygen level. So as a result, it is harder for me to continue to do sets quite as quick. So there's multiple reasons. All right. Let's start with a set of bench here. Come on. Not bad. Hey, Saul, it's good to see you. Bud Adams move. I mean, as far as bad owners are concerned, there's a top tier, and Jerry isn't in it, actually. You know, a lot of people want to say, yeah, Jerry's the reason the Cowboys haven't had success. Jerry's also the reason they're usually at least a 500 ball club. You want to talk about truly bad owners. Snyder obviously was at the top of the list, but now that he's gone, let's talk about Jimmy Haslam. Guy fucking signed Deshaun Watson. Drafted Johnny Manziel. Let's talk about Dean Spanos and what he did to the city of San Diego. Continuing to keep Brandon Staley hired. Let's talk about the owner of... Oh God, let's talk about the fucking McCaskies, for God's sake. I mean, as much as we love to shit on Jerry Jones, he's not in the top tier of shitty owners. Everybody would love to put him there, but ultimately can't do it. He's just, the problem is that the Cowboys are too successful to be there. Cowboys reliably win too many games to be in that tier of bad ownership. It's not a thing where people, right, it's not kind of situation where people actively turn down, you know, going to that team or being signed by that team specifically because ownership is seen as toxic. That's very much the case for Cleveland. And you could argue it's the case for Chicago now as well, because of how just the rotten stench of the McCaskies. You could put Houston on that list, frankly. That being said, it looks like the Texans are kind of making good strides. Also, this is just a pet peeve of mine. People like to shit on the Texans as a team name and as a logo. First off, I actually like the Bull logo. I think it looks dope. And it's Texan as fuck. Second, blame the Tennessee Titans for that because they refused to give the name Oilers back to the new franchise in 2002. Yes, they should be named the Oilers. They're not because of the Titans. So if you have a problem with Houston's logo, you gotta blame Tennessee for that. Because for some reason Tennessee decided to be the Tennessee Oilers for a few years in the 90s. Nobody knows why they did this. Feel Virginia McCaskey's immortal? All NFL owners are. So
this is one of the functions of the American healthcare system. It is the best in the world if you have the money to afford it. And every NFL owner does. As a result, NFL owners live a very, very, very long time. This is why, for the longest time, I figured, well, the NFL just won't matter to me because Snyder's never selling the team. And Snyder, when he bought the Redskins in 1999, yes, I'm not trying to be racist, that's what they were called at that point. When he bought that franchise in 1999, he was the youngest owner in the NFL. He was still one of the youngest when he sold it. He was only 55, 56 years old. And he had owned that team for almost 25 years. That's the thing. People think of DC as not a huge football city. It is. But there is a lot of rot to clear. This Harris fellow, the new Commanders owner, he's gotten off to a good start, but he's got a lot of things to fix. My first and immediate thing would be change the name again and change the colors. No more gold and burgundy. You need to completely separate yourself from the stench that was the Snyder era. And unfortunately, the name Redskins, the name Washington football team, the name Commanders, and gold and burgundy, it's all tainted by that. You gotta go, first off, I would go full red, white, and blue, match the Capitals, match the Nationals, go with a team name that sort of fits that vibe. You could go with Senators. You could go with, I wouldn't go with Generals because that's a kind of a joke with the Globetrotters and whatnot. My personal favorite is Bullets because that would piss off every overly politically correct liberal in DC with way too much time on their hands off. And if you did that, all the diehard fans that live in the rural areas of Virginia, right? People forget, yeah, Virginia's a blue state. Get deep into the south parts of Virginia where, you know, the heart of the Confederacy was, around Richmond. Once you get out of there, especially if you head towards Blacksburg or into the Shenandoahs, if you did that, you called them the Bullets, you would see a gigantic rise in support there. You'd probably get large chunks of West Virginia as well as the rural parts of Maryland back from Baltimore. So, just saying, if you really wanna go that way about it, go that way about it. Yeah, that would mean, you know, pissing off a lot of your rich, overly PC fans, but look at what appeasing them has done. Jack fucking shit. It's the NFL. It's supposed to be the NFL is forgetting who it's for. The NFL is the sport for the blue-collar working man in much of the northern half of the United States. That's what it's there for. In the South, college football does that. You're not gonna, college football is a whole different deal. In the South, it's a whole different deal. But if you live in and around the big cities in the north, anywhere Washington, D.C. or north of the Ohio River, anywhere around there, right? The NFL is supposed to be for the carpenters and the mechanics and the plumbers, right? It's supposed to be for that working man. The problem is now, ticket prices have risen so high that it's not the case anymore in most places. As a result, the atmospheres are a lot more corporate, and it's part of why college football is simply better than the NFL. The NFL just doesn't have that same intensity anymore. Isn't Winchester Ammo Company in Virginia? Yeah, well, Winchester is a city in Virginia. It's actually fairly close to West Virginia. It's in the Shenandoahs. Very pretty city, actually. I like that era. We actually have a very famous rifle company here in my little town in South Carolina. They make exquisitely high quality rifles. We're talking like $10,000 minimum to buy one. They're handcrafted and they're really, really good. I can't afford that, but you know, it's kind of neat. Let's get another set going. I need to speed it up a little bit. Even on my own standards, I'm going slow today. Oh well, I have nowhere to be. Come on. Ugh. It's not bad as well.
see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Cool. All right, we already got the majority of the shoulder stuff done, so that's great. So we're going to go with triceps extensions. We go with 85, I think. Start. Good. Let's go. Strong like bull. Damn it. Oh, that's bad for the weights. You need to do that. Oh well. You told me you're the hottest guy ever. I feel like you have. And like that, only got 12 there. There's no. I feel like it's harder to do that with a barbell and isolate the tries than if I do it with a dumbbell. Let me play around with that a little bit more. Let's see. Right, so if I keep it closer, or as we go further away, I feel like I engage too much of my shoulders on that. So I'm gonna try and do it closer to see what happens. If that fails, I'll go to dumbbells. So that's supposed to be a triceps exercise. I feel like my shoulders are engaging too much there. I gotta do better. God. I'm also just a lot lower on energy than I am for my normal sets. This is just the effects of the cut cycle. Also had 2 bourbon slushies last night. That probably didn't help. I decided to bust one out because I thought Dodger was going to have one. And then she declined. And I was already kind of one way into one. I shouldn't have had one. It was a mistake, but whatever. So learn. Thankfully, those bourbon slushies almost out of the house. So they'll get removed in due time. I appreciate that though, Ed. Man, speaking of roller coasters, I've already mentioned my weight. Watching the viewer count, goes to 25, goes back down to 9, goes to 21, goes back down to 11.
Let's go for Judas Priest. Go Hellion and Electric Eye. It's a great song, honestly. Judas Priest in general is really, really good. I like their stuff. Rob Halford's a fucking icon. Any of you all seen the war between Hamas and Israel popping up too? I don't know why that came to mind from this song. It's not quite the same thing, but one's about a big surveillance state. I mean, Hamas decided to fuck around and find out, and it's kind of despicable that they're hiding behind innocent Palestinians. However, most of Palestine supports, well, not most, but almost 50% of Palestine supports Hamas. So you've got an intractable problem here. For me, as an American, I wish we'd just stay out of it. Israel's perfectly capable of handling things themselves, and the more we support them, I'm just not sure. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think Israel needs our help. I think they're perfectly capable of handling that alone if they wish to go the war route, but we should just stay out of it. That's just my opinion. Bourbon slushy, damn, a lot of calories. So, okay. So I'll talk about my recipe. I probably shouldn't say it on here, but so you're not going to find my recipe, rather it's my mom's recipe online, because it's not the same thing. If you found a recipe that includes simple syrup, no, you don't have the right recipe. Severus, ping me about it in the VIP channel or something. I think that's what I'll do. I'll keep the recipe to the VIP channel. I'll post it in there. It's still loads of calories, of course, and most of those are sugar and alcohol, but like, duh. It's good stuff though. It's like a whiskey ginger meets citrus. Let's do this. Blizzard actually originally been assimilated by the Microsoft board. I'd say I care, but nope. Strong leg pull. Come on. Fucking rep this. Come on! Oh, that's better. Yes. That was 15, I think. God bless Judas Priest. How's your back? Feeling pretty good.
I'm gonna try deadlift day probably next week. We'll see how it goes. It won't be as heavy as last time. It'll be a more Romanian intensive day. Again, we're kind of close to the end of our cut cycle. Target weight's 205. This morning we were at 206.6, so we're very close. And as such, I'm just gonna be down on power. Still gonna do the best I can, but it's a natural consequence of a cut cycle. By the end, you do have lower energy levels. There's no excuse, but realistically, it's gonna affect how I do. All right, so we're gonna try a closer grip for this and see if it better isolates our triceps. Because the last one on a wider grip, I feel like elbows are bowing out and I'm relying on the shoulders too much, which is not what I want to do for this exercise. So let's try that. 2. Yeah, that's better. Oh, that's good. I'm electric sky. Electric guy. That's the way to do it. You'll be in Berea next month? A nice Saturday? Cool. What for? Bowser, good to see you. Workout done, gotta run, nice motivation as always. See your Bulls interview on YouTube. Yes, you can go ahead, Severus, post that link in chat. Yeah, so, well, Severus was here, it's about a month ago. He sat me down, we had a little interview, so if you kind of like what I am, like what I do, like what I talk about, that's a really good way to kind of see a little bit more, dive into a few deeper questions, you know, talk about my overarching philosophy, why I started the channel. I mean, truth be told, like if you're a regular on this stream, you'll have seen most of it, or you'll understand where I'm coming from at least, but it's still pretty cool. KMEA, AAA, regional marching band quarterfinals. Oh wow, cool, cool. That's pretty dope. Wow. Yeah, apparently there's a video where Iron Maiden and Judas Priest swapped vocalists for a couple songs. That would work, actually. I could totally see Rob Halford belting out Iron Maiden tunes. All right, so this is our 4th set. That'll be our last set on dumbbell bench. We'll do 3 sets on dumbbell incline. And we might do a 4th set on dumbbell incline. Yeah, maybe I'll do a set of pullovers just as a... Yeah, I think I'll do a heavier set of pullovers. So normally when I do pullovers, they're always lightweight and sets at 20. Maybe I'll do a heavier set of pullovers today. That might actually be kind of fun to try. I never do that. We'll do one more set of bench, one more set of triceps extensions. Maybe work incline. Could do some JM press. That wouldn't be a bad option. All right, all right. We could do... Yeah. I want to do some skull. Yes, maybe some skull crushers as well. Trying to figure out exactly how I want to do this. We'll figure it out. Best part of Berea, C. Tacker Barrel. Cracker Barrel? Bless your heart. I feel like the Ohio, if you think Cracker Barrel is flavorful food, I feel like the Ohio has infected you and you need to become more Southern. No, Cracker Barrel's fine. No, I'm just playing.
I ain't got nothing against it. All right. Okay. Yeah, I've been just going super slow this morning. But it took me a while to warm up and hit my max sets. That's to be expected. Apart from that, we're actually going at a reasonable speed. Whatever. I have all day. There's nothing else I'm doing. I guess, okay, that's not entirely true. I've got, what else am I going to do today? I'm going to try my best not to watch college football. I want to plane off the stumps I cut yesterday. That should be fairly easy. I'll just take a little bit of time with the saw. Buy some rocks and some tarp. Tennessee and Cracker Barrel is in the state's DNA. What's funny to me too is that, speaking of Cracker Barrel-esque restaurants, Tennessee is the only place I've ever seen Shoney's. So I think Shoney's might be from Tennessee as well. Which, like, I thought, for the longest time, I thought Shoney's was just a made-up restaurant name that Rick and Morty used. In that one episode is like season 2. We never left the Shoney's! We never left the Shoney's! You know. But then I went to Knoxville and realized Shoney's is indeed a real thing. So, who knew? Ladies CS2, retire before 30? Yes. How? I'll explain that one after I do a set. Strong like bull. Come on. Come on. Ah! Damn, I wanted 16, only got 14. Oh well. Yes, so retire before 30. That is real, and I suppose that would mean you've actually read the bio, which thank you for that, and welcome to First Time Chat Leggy. Luda, welcome to the First Time Chat too. Good to see you both in here. Welcome to the bullpen. So, no, lottery tickets have nothing to do with it. As far as retiring early, so first off, two important things. One, notice here it says financially independent, not I'm going to retire at age 30. I want to be able to. Just because I can doesn't necessarily mean I will. Could I? Perhaps. Will I? Maybe. I don't know yet. But the point is, I want financial freedom to make that call. In other words, make it so that I can't be fucked with by my employer. My employer already kind of knows, right? I'm about 80% of the way there, so worst case, I'd still be okay. I could live for years and years and years without needing to pick up a full-time job. Beyond that, as far as how, the simple answer, and I can dive into more complexities if you want. I'm going to let you, Liggy, I'm going to let you ask the questions and I can elaborate as we go forward. The simple answer is save a vast majority of your income through your 20s and it can provide for you through your 30s and on. It's not about how much you save, it's about what percentage of your income you save. If you've ever heard of the FIRE movement, you know what I'm talking about. The simple answer, and I can give you numbers, is I've saved a very large chunk of my income ever since I graduated college. I have lived frugally and efficiently,
And frankly, I still feel like I live like a king. For God's sake, I'm sitting here doing my own workout, my own private gym. That's pretty good. But as such, I have been able to save up and invest quite a lot of wealth. And as a result, those investments every year, there's what's called a sustainable withdrawal rate that I can take out every year that does not pose a risk to my finances, but I can live on that amount of money. Is it enough to match my total expenses yet? Not quite, but it's close. It's about 80%. So another 500 odd days, and it will be enough, assuming the stock market doesn't tank. But you know, you have safety margins for that sort of variability. You're going to live based on stocks, or do you have other investments like real estate? Well, I own this home. In that sense, it is an investment. But you know, I'm not a huge fan of bonds in general. I feel like bonds is, you know, the bond market's quite good right now, but bonds is playing it a bit safe. I think you'd be better off with dividend-producing stocks in general than bonds and dollar cost average. Just my opinion. Shoney's in Lexington and Danville. Gotta show my age. No comment there, Big Red. But in general, yeah, you can definitely make it happen with rent and real estate. However, the housing market is so high right now that very few properties offer a worthwhile ROI, especially given how much you pay on an interest rate for a mortgage. My current mortgage, I did buy at a very good time, and I did that deliberately. I knew what I was doing when I bought the mortgage. I got it at an extremely low interest rate, and as such, I'm benefiting from that. In other words, inflation is eating away the loan, but I bought a house that wasn't unreasonably large. It was far less house than I could afford, and it's certainly satisfactory for me. White zones for immediate loading and swag only. Yeah? All right, let me do this set. But yeah, if you have questions about early retirement, financial independence, and financial optimization, ask them. I'm never going to go out there and exactly state what I make unless asked. It just seems like bragging. Let's go. So let's see what we got now. Should we do jam press? We do some pullovers as well. I like it. That's what we're going to do. Actually, I think we still do that. Do that. Nah. Might do skull crushers. Let's see. Alright, first things first, we're going to try some pullovers. I don't normally do those, but I feel like today would be a good option. Up, Cronulla. Welcome to the chat, Russi. Thanks for the first time chat. I have no idea what that means. I haven't got the foggiest clue what that means. There we go. Come on, arms straight.
do a second set of that, I'm not sure.
Hello to Heist, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. Welcome to the World Pad. Who's band performed the 23 Bucket Classic in Columbus at the shoe? Oh, well, that'll be amazing. Good for you. Good for her. So do some skull crushers. I think we'll do 2 sets of pullovers. For skull crushers, I think we'll go a little bit up weight. Let's go to 95. But yeah, if you have further questions about the whole financial independence early retirement thing, shoot, be very happy to answer them. Or if you're curious, you can check out that YouTube video that Severus posted above, and that'll explain a good chunk of it too. Let's get a little bit more music going. There we go. You know what's funny? I don't think I've ever gotten a single Whopper commercial in the last month or so on my YouTube feed, which tells me the algorithm is listening and understands that I don't eat junk food. So that's a good sign. Here we go. So for these are skull crushers, right? I'm gonna bring them to my skull, so I need to make sure I'm not gonna hit this. Be kind of careful about where I line this up. There we go. That's good. That's not bad. Let's do another set of pullovers. I like that. Dodge, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope y'all beat the shit out of Florida. I don't like the Gators. Hey, good to see you, fam.
That feels good. So, how's y'all's mornings going otherwise? I guess I'll give you an update because it's been a week. Still no word from either Hawaii or Pearl Harbor. Or sorry, either Puget Sound or Pearl Harbor. I'm thinking maybe November is going to be when I hear, which is good. The longer it takes, the better. My 401k isn't fully vested until March anyway, so there's no benefit. Yeah. Let's go. I got plenty of chores to do around the house today, so that's more or less what I'm going to be doing. Come on. Not bad. Thanks, FO. Let's go for some 60s. I want to try some heavier Arnold presses. Really push it on the shoulders today, I think. Shoulders don't feel quite sore enough. I don't feel like I've done enough. So let's fix that. Question is, okay, so I think I'm going to do 2 sets more. No, I'll do 3 sets of incline. I'm going to do 3 more sets of Arnold presses, 3 sets of incline press, and then I've got 1 more set of skull crushers and 4 sets of triceps left. What do I want to do for triceps? I'm gonna go to close grip, I think. You're gonna do JM or close grip. I think I'll do 2 and 2. 2 sets JM, 2 sets close grip. I think I'll do that. Yeah, I like that. Let's go for a little black flag. One week until I go on vacation, sharing a house with friends. One of those is a guy I've been talking to for 2 years. Really friends with me last week, so not really looking forward to the trip now. Oh, that's a shame. But I mean, at the same time, enjoy it for what it's worth. You never know. It could well be that if it's in a more exotic locale, you end up meeting someone you're looking for that's better. So, don't go into it being disappointed and, oops. I turned my headphones off. Don't go into it feeling disappointed about a missed opportunity. There's nothing you can do to change how your friend feels about you. Rather, go into it looking for new opportunities. Hey, that means there's no expectations. You have nothing to lose. Just go out there and try and fucking slay, if that's what you want to do, you know? See if you can. I wouldn't be too beaten up about it.
go. Thought it could help. Come on. What bad? A 7. Same old guy. Going berserk. I won't apologize for acting out of line. Who's A&M play today? We play the real UT, the Tennessee Volunteers. See what's the temp in here. And it's an even 70. It's doing pretty good. Slowly getting to that point in the year where it's cooler in here. When that happens, I get a second wind. Boy, could I use that second wind right about now. Alright. So, do close grip on here. Close grip, Arnold's. Alright. We do close grip at 175, roll for reps on that. Yes, I know the small weights are on the inside. Yes, it bothers me too. No, I'm not interested in fixing it. As long as I keep it balanced, it isn't gonna fucking matter. Well, look, the original one is in Knoxville, Tennessee, as far as I'm concerned. Small weight is being small spoon. Haha, yes. That's actually quite clever, yes. That's a good way to put it. All right. Let's hit one more set of Arnold's, and then
So let's see, we've got Arnold, close, one more Arnold, one more close, we'll hit incline, one more close, and chest flies, I think. Something like that. Let's play some Super Knot by Black Sabbath. That's a good song. What does it mean when a 401k is fully vested? Excellent question. Okay, that is the best question I've seen today. Points to you, FM. So, what is vesting? If you have a job at a bigger corporation or a government entity, a 401k is a program where if you save a certain amount, the company will typically match that amount up to a certain percentage of your paycheck. The idea here is that instead of a pension, it makes businesses more competitive by allowing that money to be invested and giving the individual worker an incentive to save. So what a vesting schedule is, and this works for stock options if you get paid in those as well, what a vesting schedule is it's basically saying, hey, this amount of money the company is paying you as a match, we're not going to give it to you all right away. You have to work here for a certain number of years until you get it. So to be fully vested, that means all the money that the company has matched your 401k with is now officially yours. If you leave the company, you still keep it. My company, I don't get that full vesting until 3 years of work experience, which for me would be March 1st, 2024. I've been working at this current company for 2 years, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, 2 years, 7.5 months. So I got another 4.5 months to go until it's fully vested. My company has an extremely generous 401k matching program, but it's all or nothing. So I have to work those 3 years or I forfeit it, and that's a 5-figure sum. So that's over $10,000 that I gotta hold on to. So, I'm talking about, potentially looking at other jobs. And it's not that I was unhappy with my current company. In fact, I really like my job and I like my location and all that. But, when opportunity comes to knock it, it's not a bad, it would be foolish for me not to at least explore it, right? Okay, so that's all fine and well. But what it means is if, say, another company wanted to get me out of this job and have me start immediately, there'd be a $10,000 difference in favor of saying, no, I'm going to stick with this company. And, prospective employers, I make that very clear. I'm like, hey, if you want to hire me, especially given that I currently have a house and, I'm set up here, it's going to take some time. Luckily, the positions at Pearl and Puget aren't going very quickly in terms of the process of making me an offer. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's no big deal either way. I didn't know the match money was temporarily held escrow. That's, sort of like that. Now, some companies, it's a step stair. So like at my old company, after 1 year, you get 25% vesting. After 2 years, you get 50% vesting. After 3 years, you get 100% vesting. And some companies are different. Some companies, it's just 1 year vesting. Some companies, it's 5-year vesting. It really does depend on who you're working for. So that's important to recognize. But yeah, the 401k is a terrific investment option. And it can definitely supercharge how your savings go for retirement. Here's what I mean, right? So let's just say you have $100,000 saved up in your 401k before you turn 30, right? If you start working at 22, that means you got to save about $10,000 to $12,000 in it every year. Some of that can be the company money, some of that can be your money, right? If you do that at $100,000 and you don't touch it beyond age 30, because of how early you've invested, compound interest, you get the S&P 500 average, this is after inflation, make about $200,000 when you're 40, $400,000 when you're 50, and $800,000 when you're 60. In other words,
By the time you hit 65, you'll have about $1 million, right? What does that mean? Well, what it means is that, actually I have a bit more, it'd be more like 1.2 million. In other words, what it means is that all you gotta do is be real disciplined in those early years, and if you can, right, between that and Social Security, which isn't going away, it'll probably get reduced because we're spending irresponsibly and we're an aging nation, but the point here that I'm trying to make is, if you can make that first $100,000, if you put that first $100,000 into your 401k, and again, a lot of that can be company matching, you're set. For your retirement is completely taken care of. You can get to that point by age 30. All you gotta do, 100,000. Now, if you want to retire earlier than age 60, obviously you gotta save more, but you get the idea. Compound interest is a very powerful thing, and compound interest really only works when you give it time to work. 7% returns may not seem like much, 5% returns may not seem like much, until you compound it over 30 years, and then it's a shit ton of money. Morning, Mr. Bull, how are you? Young at heart, I'm doing all right. Just chilling here, about to do another set of Arnold presses. Was talking about 401k vesting and matching, compound interest, and retirement. So we do a little bit of everything on this channel. Anyway, I gotta play some Black Sabbath and hit this next set. Gotta love Black Sabbath. Come on. Come on! That's 8. That's good. There we go. Set for close grip. Yeah, no problem. But yeah, no, compound interest is a huge, huge deal. I already missed my early years. Unfortunately, it is a lot harder if you don't start saving in your 20s. You save in your 20s, again, just $100,000 in your 20s. May sound like a lot, but let's say you get a 1-to-1 match on your first $5,000, right? So that means from age 22 to 30, 40% of that original 100K is going to be 401k match. Now you only got to match $60,000 in your first 8 years of your career. That may seem daunting, but break it down, right? First off, it's going to compound. So that first year, you save a few thousand, you've got 8 years for that to get up, right? That's already meaning it's pretty much going to be close to double. So realistically, as long as you get even semi-decent returns those first few years, what you're looking at all of a sudden is maybe saving $45,000, $50,000 over 8 years, which is about $6,000 a year. Now, that may be difficult if you're not making a ton in your first few jobs, but the average starting salary for most jobs now is starting between $30,000 and $60,000. I live on $18,000. Don't tell me it can't be done. All right, fine. I've done a little bit of charitable spending on going on a big vacation. It'll be up to $20,000 by the end of the year. The point still remains. You can save a good amount. Not to mention there are tax credits if you save and you're in that income bracket. So there is a very good incentive. All right, come on. good. Work, I have to get to work. Hope your day is lovely. Thank you very much for being active and stopping in FM. It's always good to talk to you. Glad you were here. All right, so what we got left? We got one more set of shoulders, 3 more sets of tris, 4 more sets of chest. So we got a little bit of room to go. All right, so do one more set of Arnold press. This one, we're gonna do with 40s, we're gonna go for reps. So last few is at 60s, did a set of 7, set of 8. This time we're gonna do 40s, try and keep it strict, try and keep the breathing regulated, try and go for more like 15. See how it goes. Excuse me. There it is. All that deep breathing causing trouble. So, take a look at my abs here. So, right, this is why we're cutting. You can see the top 4 pretty well. The bottom, it's there, but it's not quite as well defined as these 4. Really what we're looking for is the line that separates this bottom ab from the rest down here. And that requires losing fat on this band. As you see, there's a very faint line, but it's not perfect. So that's the idea. We're trying to work on that. That's what the cut cycle's for. Abs are made in the kitchen, not in the weight room. Now you should do abs. You should do ab exercises, but be aware that's not going to get you where you're looking to go. Capiche? Cool. Come on. Finally, there's that burn in the shoulders I was looking for. All right, so for this, 70, and we'll hit incline with that after another set of close grips. We've got last close grip set. So we'll do close grips. We'll swap to incline. We'll do JMs, and then that'll be it.
And then we'll wrap up with chest flies, of course. Really work that hard. Dun, 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 dun. Symptom of the Universe by Black Sabbath, in case you were wondering. Got Bill Ward killed it on this track. I should have gone for a 12 there. Bitch move. I quit on myself there. That's not good. Come on. Back. Hey, little fist bump. Here you go. Buzzing Ranger, welcome on in. King, good to see you. How y'all doing? You know what? Go for 105 on the J-arms. This one, because it is lightweight,
All right. Good to see you guys. Welcome on in. Ooh, yes, a little Pantera. So how we doing? Y'all having a good time? I'm not happy with my numbers this morning. Went for heavy shoulder press. Only 1 rep, 195. I could have probably done more. I just wasn't really looking to hurt myself. Probably just wasn't worth it. I bitched out on 205. I got it to about here, decided it wasn't worth finishing. Work out my muscle groups twice a week. Body's still adjusting. Is that up to twice a week or down to twice a week? I work, so I do a push-pull leg split, and typically I will work out 5 days a week. Sometimes I'll get a day where I miss or a day where I'm sore, and we'll tone it down to 4 days a week for that. So, and then next week will be a deload. So we'll see. Transitioning my workout. So are you talking, when you say muscle groups twice a week, like are you talking, are you doing upper lower, are you doing whole body, are you doing push-pull leg? So you're only doing 2, let's see. Kanaka says, how I achieved an athletic physique. How did you achieve an athletic physique? Or are you asking me? I'm not sure what you're asking there, Kanaka. Buzzing Ranger, are you talking about like doing, when you're saying twice a week, is that, okay, so how do you split it up? So you do so I do push-pull leg, as you can see. Obviously we're doing a push day today. But, so if you do leg day, chest day, you're doing that twice a week. So how many workouts total typically in 1 week do you do? Because if you're hitting a push-pull leg, if you're hitting, and this is just my personal knowledge because I tried this for myself, if you hit a push-pull leg split and you're doing every workout twice a week, that's 6 days on, 1 day off, and I've found that leads to overtraining. That's just not enough time. That's just not enough downtime for my body. So I for one would caution against doing 6 days a week in the gym. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. Look, if it works for you, by all means do it. What I found is that my numbers suffered when I did that, and that was a pretty surefire sign it was overtraining. The lean body type somehow still not too hard to maintain. Right, Kanaka, are you asking me that question, or are you talking about how you achieved that? I don't understand what you're asking. All right. And if you can successfully see increased numbers going 6 days a week, more power to you. How did you achieve that then? I mean, are you asking yourself that question? I don't. If you've got words of wisdom to share, by all means, go for it. All right, let's do this. Come on. Second to last heavy set. Come on. Get up there. That's 13. Oh my gosh, Crazy Keith. Thank you very much for the tip. It's very generous of you. I appreciate that immensely. Thank you.
So we've got 2 sets of jams, 1 set of inclines, and then 1 set of chest flies. Well, I guess you get it all the way. Go, Pantera. J Guy. Hello, it's me, Jigga Man. Lost 3 pounds in 3 weeks. Way to go, bro. Good for you. Congratulations. I appreciate the tip. Thank you, Crazy Keith. Very kind of you. I never solicit, never ask for money. But when people do tip me, it's very gratifying because it's a sign that they appreciate what I do, what I provide. I really do try to provide access to someone who, I mean, believe me, right? I kind of know what I'm doing. Not trying to be arrogant, not trying to be big-headed, but like, right? If you're looking for someone to give you decent advice, I'm not a bad option. It's jam press. These have been an interesting addition to my workout. But Jay Guy, it's good to see you back in here. It's been a minute. I was wondering where Jigga Man went. Now I know. Very happy to have you in here. All right, come on. There's a lot of new people, been helping other new streamers. Good for you, man. It's always important to go and seek out new people. I've been less active, maybe, on the extracurriculars and the networking that I have than I probably should have been the last few times. But there are reasons for that. All right. You got one last set of inclines. We'll do that. You don't need help? No, I don't. That's what I'm saying. But like, I should probably be looking for new people to meet and raid and all that jazz. If you don't mind me asking, Jigga Man, who have you found? Or Jay Guy, I should say now. Maybe we should rate a new one. You know what? Keep those suggestions. If you're here when I'm looking to raid someone, well, I'll let you guide the raid. We still got a couple sets left. Then I got abs. I'll probably go. DM says, how often do I hydrate? When I'm thirsty. I mean, you've seen me taking sips out of this usually it's maybe not every set, but every couple. Been trying to drink less water. Well, why on earth would you do that? Too much water makes me feel and look bloated. So, what I would recommend, if you don't take creatine, try taking creatine. Why would you want to take creatine? Well, so what creatine usually does is creatine takes a lot of the muscle a lot of the water stored inside of your body and puts it into the muscle. So it makes your muscles look a little bit more defined, and it takes that from water weight. So I would recommend creatine if you haven't incorporated that into your diet. I'm trying to lose water weight, otherwise my abs don't show. Try creatine. And as far as water weight's concerned, it's a roller coaster, man. Right, so yesterday, I said this earlier, but I'll say it again because it's been a minute. Yesterday, I weighed in the morning at about 212, and then I weighed in 6 hours later at 207. So water weight's gonna do this. Ride the roller coaster and don't freak out too much.
Never taken creatine. My old trainer told me it's better if I stay away from steroids and maintain a natural look. Creatine is not a steroid. No. Steroids are things like tren, testosterone, HGH. Creatine is none of those things. Creatine is naturally found in eggs and fish. Your trainer, if your trainer is telling you creatine is a steroid, he's wrong. No, creatine is not a steroid. I've never met someone who says creatine is a steroid. Nobody's serious anyway. Creatine doesn't stimulate muscle growth. Creatine doesn't, I mean, not in the same way that HGH would. Is testosterone a steroid? Okay, so yes and no. If you're using it with the explicit, it really depends on intent, right? If you naturally have low T and you're using it because your doctor is telling you to use it, that's a different case than if you are choosing to use it explicitly to increase muscle gain. Isn't that the biological male hormone? Yes, but if you're artificially pumping yourself more of a lot of it, it's, I would say, again, it really depends on the situation, right? There are some instances, for instance, cancer patients or people recovering from autoimmune diseases, that steroids are a very good thing. In fact, that's why a lot of steroids exist, is for those medical patients. However, bodybuilders often use them. And there's nothing wrong with taking steroids. By the way, I do not judge people who take gear. Only people I have a problem with are fake natties. In other words, people who say they're natty, but they take steroids. And for me, right, creatine is in the same category as protein powder. It's a naturally occurring substance. It's not going to, right, you could get an equivalent creatine dose by eating lots of eggs and fish. You're not going to get a giant dose of testosterone by eating anything. You got to inject steroids for that. Or you're not going to find HGH in naturally occurring foods. Creatine you will. Protein you will. This is why protein powder is not a steroid. Protein powder is simply a more efficient way to get protein into your system than conventional food. That's all it is. I recommend creatine. My trans friend Kieran uses testosterone. So that's the other one with trans people. So if you're transitioning to male, so that would be you're a trans male, you're biologically female, and you're transitioning to male. First off, if you're transitioning to male, you are choosing hard mode in life. Good luck. I respect the grind. Welcome to hard mode, is what I will tell you on that regard. As far as as far as using testosterone in the sense of muscle building, I mean, that's more or less, I think the 70s was really the first decade that kind of got going, and it's only gotten more extreme since. I mean, this is why you look at modern bodybuilders, and I have nothing wrong with that, but you're never ever going to look like that naturally. You're not. You're not going to have that much muscle mass on your frame. You're not going to have that little fat on your frame. It's just not something your body is naturally meant to do. A little body fat on your frame is not a bad thing. In fact, it's perfectly normal. Obviously, that's a big difference between that and being, fucking 400 pounds and obese, right? It's all about moderation. Same thing with muscles, right? Like, I would love to fill out my frame a little bit more and get to, would I love to be 250 pounds, deadlifting 500, benching 400, and squatting 450? Fuck yeah, I would be. Realistically, is that something I can do while being natty? Maybe. Don't really know. It's a question, that becomes a question of what's called your natty ceiling, your natural ceiling. Everyone has one. How far you can push your body in terms of strength without taking steroids or hormones. And this natty ceiling is different for everyone. You got to decide, again, it does become diminishing marginal returns, right? So if you are a professional, if you're a professional where you're being monitored for steroids, but you also have access to, things like hyperbaric chambers for recovery. You've got access to really, really high quality foods. You've got access to personal nutritionists and trainers who keep track of everything for you. Obviously, your natty ceiling is going to be a lot higher than someone like me who's, I'm just a dude, right? I know a thing or two because I've been studying and researching, but There's a very big difference between that and someone who's a professional. Now, if you're taking steroids, that ceiling gets much, much, much higher. However, gear gets dangerous too. You can slip into body dysmorphia a little bit easier if, in general, if you take steroids. Obviously, roid rage is a thing. And moreover, and this is something we talked about, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a famous Austrian oak, was talking about this in an interview where he said, the first time I really felt mortal is when I had to have open heart surgery because of all of the strain I had put on my heart in my bodybuilding days, all these intense workouts, right? When you are, let's say you're pumping iron, you're really hitting incredible, almost superhuman strength numbers, putting an unbelievable amount of pressure on your most important muscle, your heart. And when you're increasing your muscles more and more and more from steroids, it's only putting more strain on your heart. So there is a limit to where you start seeing guys who go all the way to the fucking max, and that includes using gear. And those guys tend to die a little bit earlier because they get heart problems. It's a trade-off, right? How do you want to go through life looking? If you want to go through life looking like an absolute Hulk, that's your prerogative. You are free to do that. But it comes with risks, just like anything else in life. It's the same reason the guys who are like, I'm not going to live as long as some wiry dude who lives in Okinawa, right? In general, one, because I'm not genetically built for it, but yeah, all this extra muscle over the course of decades is probably going to put more strain on my heart than if I were a skinny dude. There's a reason in general the guys who live the longest tend to be pretty wiry. I reckon I probably have 75, 80, if I don't get any catastrophic health effects, things like unexpected cancers or, I get shot or something, I reckon 75 to 80 is probably the best I'm going to get. Is what it is. If you are of, again, if you're of genetic descent where, 90, 95, 100 is a little bit more feasible, and you treat your body really well, and you're eating very healthy, and you're not overdoing it, and all that sort of stuff, you're probably going to live a lot longer. It's a trade-off. But I love the way I look. It's not perfect, but it's a lot closer to where I want it to be than where it's been. So it's an upward trajectory, He's a trans male athlete. I don't envy his hardships. He's absolutely demolished in sports, but he loves the sport too much to quit. What sport does he play? Because that's fucking baller as hell. Again, if you're a trans male, you're picking hard mode because, right, you get all the biological disadvantages of being born female. Then you get all the societal disadvantages of being male. And a lot of people want to say, oh, well, the patriarchy and blah, blah, blah. In modern 21st century, in the Western world, a lot of those advantages have slipped away. Men these days perform worse in school. Men these days are, if we come up to a girl nowadays, if you're looking to date a woman and, your lines are wrong, you can get canceled for being creepy. I mean, God, you see the stories coming out of public gyms now where girls will set up a video camera just to trap guys who either occasionally take a glance or are just walking by. Shit, I saw a fucking video of Jim trying to kick out a blind dude who was, unbeknownst, looking at a woman because that was just where he was looking, right? He's blind. He can't fucking see you. Like, just inane shit like that. There are some societal disadvantages to being male these days. I'm not one of these fucking MRA losers. I'm not some fucking incel. But like, there's a reason there's a male loneliness epidemic right now. Frankly, I prefer being alone. Not really because I've had much of a choice. The dating market is pretty abysmal here in very rural South Carolina. Not trying to be rude, but like, realistically, there's not much here, and I swing both ways too. So it's still doesn't even sexuality doesn't even matter here. It's just how this part of the country is. But anyway, as far as all of that, I am starting to lose focus. So I need to fucking hit I need to hit one more set of inclines, one more set of jams, and one more set of chest flies before I kind of get too far down this rabbit hole. So let me hit another set. Doesn't live in the greatest neighborhood, but it's simultaneously super affordable. That's how it goes. Now I'm again quite lucky. No, it's a package delivery. Shoot. Let me pause on this. I'll be right back. Thank you. Yep, these are all for me. Okay, my roommate got a shit ton of stuff from Amazon. I have no earthly idea what all of these are, but we're gonna move them out of shot for now, so it's not our problem. Sorry about that. I'm against gym women who wear this tight yoga pant thingies. Everyone has to say is super uncomfortable. Women who wear this are looking for attention. TikToking like these trap men for clips are disgusting. You can wear, I'm not a fan. I think if you want to wear yoga pants because it makes you fucking look sexy, go for it. But like, if you're gonna wear that, other people are probably going to stare. So just don't right? It's like dressing up like a hooker and then being surprised when people, when Johns come up to you, right? It's just how the world works. It's not realistic to sit here and expect different. But yeah, the fact that TikTok is disgusting is the real answer. Social media in general is pretty fucking toxic. It's why you won't find me on Twitter. It's why you won't find me on TikTok. Well, okay. You won't find me on TikTok because it's Chinese social engineering, and given the work I do, absolutely not. But you get the idea. All right. But yeah, what's funny too is a lot of those women, a lot of the women who are complaining about guys like that in the gym, then the men start leaving, and then the women are like, wait, where'd all the guys go? I miss guys checking me out. And it's very different. A lot of women will change their response based on who comes up and talks to them in the gym. If it's a guy they're interested in, it's very different than a guy they're not interested in, and that bothers me. Just be polite, right? If a guy is being blatantly creepy for like fucking 30 minutes just hovering around you, yeah, that's weird. But like, first off, this is something I do a lot. I watch other people in the gym, male, female, whatever, and I'm bi, so, I try and do it relatively free of whatever gender. The reason I do that is because a lot of times I'll see people doing things that I've never seen before. And when I see that, I'll often ask, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Because it may mean I learned something. It's very, very important. If you want to get good in the gym, it's very important to never stop learning. You're going to find different people have found different successful routines with different things, and unless you try it, you're not going to know how it works for you. I forgot you work for the US government. I don't exactly work for the US government. It's complicated. I work for a contractor on a US federal nuclear site. It is, you get the idea. Women complaining that they do it not to be sexy, but because it's comfortable is what I don't believe. I mean, that's as may be, but you can't be, right, the biological male urge is there. And either way, again, frankly, if I get looked at by girls or by other guys, maybe this should be fairly obvious because I'm fucking on Twitch talking about this. Like, I take it as a compliment, right? If someone's eyeing me up, I don't care why. I'm happy, makes me feel good about myself. I'm just saying, right, women who do that, really, and the thing is, like, as men, if we sit here and say that, it ain't gonna mean shit. The only way that toxic trend of TikToker women or Instagram women who try and shame guys like that and trap guys, the only way that trend is going to stop is if other women put a stop to it. So, women, that one's on your gender. Try and figure it out. All right, let me hit a set because I've been over talking. Come on. Come on. Get up there. Nice. That was good. That's 15. Well, I mean, ultimately, it's irrelevant for me. Stoicism says I shouldn't care about what I can't control. I can't control what toxic TikTokers do in the gym, and I don't need to because I have my own gear. Men are checking me out. I take it as a compliment. Dude, men are checking you out. Most of the time, it's not because they're hot for you. It's because they're trying to learn from you. That's what I do. Look, I don't go to the gym to try and date people. If I see a dude who's stronger than me, more cut than me, more athletic than me, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna take mental notes. Or if I have my notebook with me, I'll take actual notes. All the time. All right, let's do another JM set. Yeah. Love my country, but the U.S. is sus to more as the less members of demonize TikTok, more makes people want to use the app. No, TikTok really, no. Unfortunately, look, insufferable though they may be, the boomers are correct. TikTok is Chinese social engineering. And look, man, I work with plutonium for a living. It's fucking radioactive. It's too radioactive for me. Stay away from TikTok. This shit's brain rot. Look, and here's how I know. Go look at what TikTok is in the US. It's shit that's made to dumb down everyone. It's always fucking dumb shit. And then compare it to what the Chinese equivalent is, right? What the state-sanctioned, CCP-sanctioned equivalent to TikTok is in China. And it's like fucking classical music. It's how to improve your life. It's super wholesome, which weirdly, I mean, credit to the Chinese. You know, you're trying to improve your own population with social media, trying to use it for good. The fact that you're using it for evil here in the United States, trying to destabilize us as a country, yes, that's a threat to national security, and yes, we should take it seriously. Using the gym to date is odd. I just go to the bars in Brooklyn are amazing. Well, I mean, I neither have gyms nor bars to work with here. That's a downside of living where I do. I mean, this town is 1,800 people, 0 grocery stores, 0 bars, 8 churches, and dozens of Confederate flags. That's where I live. But I can live like a king on 20 grand a year, so trade-offs. Besides, the way I see it is, eventually, I don't need to worry about it. I'm 28, I've got time, and the more effort I kind of put into improving myself here, getting stronger, getting wealthier, growing this channel and trying to help other people, the more valuable I am going to be as a potential date partner. So time is on my side, frankly. And I'm not looking to date any college-age girls anyway, because I'm just not at that point in my life. I'm looking for something a bit more mature. So because of that, who cares? I can go for years without dating anybody. It's not gonna matter. My life is already busy and complicated enough. I'm not quite sure what a partner adds to it. If it happens, great, but it's not something I'm actively seeking out. I tried Bumble a little while for about a year ago, and it's terrible around here. What us boomers aren't getting their points across that well. It's also odd how every single Western liberal democracy isn't lined up like little clones, but just us that demonize TikTok. Just Canada recently banned TikTok in government buildings, so it's 2 out of all other Western nations. The other Western nations are wrong. Look, again, given what I do for a living, right, I have been expressly told by my employer, we strongly recommend against using any form of social media, obviously, but they especially TikTok, because it's seen as a security risk, because it's owned by the Chinese. It's that simple. It's just the way the world works. If the Soviet Union had made something like that in the 1970s, I'd have felt the same way. And it's not to say that China is evil, because they're not. It's not to say that they're always even the adversary, because sometimes they're not. But it is to say that this is something that is eroding a lot of the capabilities of our younger generations, and that is a national security threat. We need a nice young technocrat in charge. I don't think it has to be a technocrat, but we need someone younger, someone who isn't in the boomer generation. The boomers have had office from 1992 to 2020. You got to remember, Biden is so old that he's actually not a boomer. He's silent generation. He's older still than the boomers. The gerontocracy needs to go. The fact that Dianne Feinstein died in office and had her last term to begin with is a disgrace. You can't sit here and tell me there aren't intelligent, young, progressive people in San fucking Francisco of all places. Dianne Feinstein was 90. Are you really going to sit here and tell me that nobody else in her district was more well equipped to take that job? No! It's ridiculous. That's patently ridiculous. All right, here we go. 2 more sets. To practice, you hold on to me. So I voted for Buttigieg. I have mixed feelings on Buttigieg. I do like, I think he was very well qualified. I think his run in 2020 was somewhat premature. I think he's a bit too young. I don't think we need someone quite as young as he was. We're talking younger than Roosevelt or Kennedy. I don't think I want someone under 40 to be president, but I also don't want someone over 70 to be president. I want someone, in general, who has a little bit more executive experience. Governors tend to be a pretty good option. Right? A governor, if you're able to run a state well, you're probably going to be more equipped to run a federal, the federal equivalent to governor well. Not a perfect correlation. There are bad governors and there are bad presidents, but you get the point. Stand by, I gotta pee. My property, I can do what I want. All right, so we got 1 set left, and that's gonna be flies. We'll hit it. Oh, hit some abs, and then we're gonna chill. Turkey Congress had the first Gen Z representative, Florals Maxwell Frost. He was the only one of the primary states with executive experience. Everyone else was like senator and shit. I like Pete because he was a mayor. I like people with executive experience. I like Pete actually as well. I just think he was a bit. I think he could have used. I think Pete would be a really great governor of Indiana. Just my personal take. There are things I like about what Buttigieg is saying and things I don't like. He's talking about instituting a replacement for the fuel tax based on vehicle waste. I'm a huge fan of fuel taxes, and I think this is one rare issue where I'm economically left-wing. I think we need drastically higher taxes on gasoline in the United States. I'm talking $1 to $2 a gallon as a federal tax. Gasoline should be north of $5 a gallon at this point. We artificially subsidize car travel at the expense of national security. If we were to use just 15% less oil in this country, we would immediately have freed up enough reserves to crush the Saudis and the Russians under our boot heel. right? Charles Moan. I know about Charles Marone. That's the dude who wrote Confessions of a Recovering Engineer. I love that book. No, if I had my way, this is one of the very few issues I'm left wing on, I would probably immediately raise the gas tax by a factor of 3 to 4 minimum. The gas tax is, I want to say it's 18 cents a gallon, and it's been 18 cents a gallon since 1993. The fact that it has not been raised in my lifetime is fiscally irresponsible, and it's a massive subsidy towards greater and greater sprawl, greater and greater automotive travel, and greater trucking instead of using rail. Rail is far more efficient, and the way we have decided to prioritize automotive infrastructure over freight rail infrastructure is insanity. It's incredibly detrimental to national security. I misspelled. Okay, so you are talking about Chuck Marone, though. I love that guy too. I really, really appreciated his book, and it taught me a few things that I thought was different. What's interesting is he brings up he takes the urbanist message and converts it to something more fiscally palatable to those who aren't far left. Because a lot of times, people look at urbanism and say, oh, it's just another socialist or government plot. Well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. You can do financially efficient small government urbanism. It just requires stopping the subsidies we give to the automotive and trucking industries by artificially driving down the cost of vehicle travel. Right? We subsidize the trucking industry. We tax the rail industry. If you tax something, you'll get less of it. If you subsidize something, you'll get more of it. So if you're subsidizing cars, don't be surprised when you get shit tons of traffic jams. If you tax rail, don't be surprised when the big 4 rail companies consolidate and then only pick the most profitable routes to run. In other words, coal. Imagine car owners had to pay the true cost of having a car. My great uncle doesn't realize how much I'm paying for the luxury to him to own is not his car, like massive parking, for example. Oh my God. Like the amount of real estate in this country dedicated to parking is ridiculous. I mean, it's not just zero value added, right? The cost of parking is, first off, you want to talk about the opportunity cost, which in economics is always the thing of not having that land for valuable real estate. But even just beyond that, just taking on non-opportunity costs, you have to pay to maintain that parking lot. Every couple of years, you got to repave it. You've got to, if it's a multi-story garage, you've got to pay to maintain the garage. And a lot of times, it's free. There's, people don't pay parking fees, which is, it means you're bringing in no revenue. It's ridiculous. We subsidize cars so much. Imagine the U.S. stopped and started subsidizing bicycles or some shit. Exactly. And if we did, imagine how much that could improve American obesity rates, which is a huge healthcare cost. Obesity is entirely preventable in this country. The other one, again, not a huge fan of particularly left-wing politics, but huge, huge fan of junk food taxes. Nobody's gonna fucking die because they're paying $4 for a Little Debbie instead of $2 for a Little Debbie. All right? Anyway, let me finish this set, and then we're gonna talk. We'll continue talking. Really, we'll do Q&A. We'll do some abs. But I agree with you on pretty much all points here, Neon. Here we go. Oh.
Oh, that's 15. That's good.
Just being municipal federal things, should that Japanese like policy, you can't even own a private meter without proof you have a place to store that vehicle. No, I don't like that. Can't do that. And here's why. Because of how badly we fucked up the housing situation with zoning laws in the United States, housing is genuinely unaffordable for a lot of the working class in places like San Francisco, places like really the entire state of California, all along both coasts at this point. And as such, there's a large number of people who live in their vehicles, who live in RVs, converted vans, etc. So if you force those people to prove where they have to store it, all of a sudden you're making their one last shot at having a roof over their heads, even if it's a mobile roof, a lot harder to deal with. So I don't support that.
Sports arenas have all that ugly surface parking. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a huge fan of Fenway Park in Boston for that reason. Fenway Park is like that. And you know, you go outside of Fenway and it's just loads and loads of, you know, bars, people having fun. It's a good time. And it's some of the most valuable real estate in an extremely expensive real estate market, I might add. So it's good for the city as well.
But yeah, no, you couldn't adopt that Japanese policy in the United States. Wouldn't work. You've got to, if you're going to do that, you've got to provide people with housing beforehand. Otherwise, you're screwing them. And I don't think the working class in this country needs that much of a screw job. That's a little unfair, I think. I think you have to get rid of the parking lots and replace it with dense housing first before you can look at a policy like that. It wouldn't work. But yeah, no, absolutely. And if you want to own a car, if you want land, that's just fine. Live in a rural area like I do, right? The difference is, it's the suburbs that are the problem, right? Suburbs make shit harder for rural people too because the highways are clogged up with suburban commuters that really don't have any good reason to own the land they do. The only thing that's ever grown on it is unproductive grass. Hell, a lot of times, suburban owners are required to grow an unproductive crop in the name of grass because of their fucking HOA. And you want to talk about something I can't fucking stand. God, I hate HOAs. Anyway, so let's do our abs now. We'll continue talking Q&A. You know, the rest of the chat, if you guys are enjoying this and you want to chime in, by all means, Neum and I are we're welcome to have you in this conversation. Let me start with 6 inches. So 6 inches, real simple. I need to move this back. That's more like it. 6 inches, real simple. Keep your knees straight. Keep your feet 6 inches off the floor, and that's really about it. There we go. I guess they're off the edge of the screen. Did you get the idea? So do this for 60 seconds. Abs are, these four look great. It's the bottom two are just not quite enough. Try and massage a little bit. Get those muscle fibers really fire off. Come on. I don't know if that works or not, but 15 more seconds. Come on. 10, 9, 3, 1. All right. Sorry. Rose's statement was out of order. I should build housing first, then implement. Yes. Yes, that's the thing. You can't. Unfortunately, we have to fix the existing errors before we can make policies like that. Because I like the idea in a vacuum, and I've lived in Japan too. It works over there. The trouble is that, right, we have to go back and undo a lot of the mistakes that were made in the 20th century here in the U.S. First and foremost, the Interstate Highways Act of 1956 and its consequences. Can I do? No, I can't. Bench is too short to do planks for side planks, and I don't really feel like doing it on the ground. I probably will. Let's start with some abs. Or let's do just some crunches. In Austria, many suburban neighborhoods only have backyard, no front yards. As living in the yards, imagine they're not public property with children playgrounds in front of buildings. They're used to the kind. Oh, I love that. No, I think that's a fantastic idea. Like I use I use a tiny chunk of my yard for gardening, but if you took away 90% of my yard, I'd be thrilled. There's 90% less work I have to do to maintain it. I live on, this thing's on almost half an acre. There's a fair amount of yard work I end up having to do day after day after day. The interstate system is great as far as it connects the entire nation. But we already had that. It was called the US highway system, and it worked well enough to cause the Great Migration in the 1930s. There's a reason The Grapes of Wrath was a book. Now what we did was we spent the equivalent of $500 billion in today's money. It's $500 billion to build the interstate highway system from 1956 onward. And while we were doing that, again, we were building that entire network at taxpayers' expense, right? Is that a brown recluse? It might be. Fuck. There's a big old spider here. It can't be. If it was a brown recluse, he wouldn't be coming in here and just fucking around like that. It's probably a wolf spider or something. Anyway, what we did in the 50s, though, right? We were taxing the railroads extremely heavily in the 50s. And we were creating, at taxpayer expense, this giant interstate highway system. So predictably, a lot of railroads start folding and they start consolidating. That's how we have the big four now. And what else happens? Well, trucking eats a lot of freight rail's lunch. Of course it would, because trucking isn't paying any taxes, right? The federal gas tax was virtually nothing back then. Gasoline was extremely cheap because we subsidized it by drilling shit tons of oil and importing shit tons of oil from the Middle East back in the 50s and 60s. Get out of here. There we go. Attaboy. Crawl away, spider. Thank you. I don't want to kill it because spiders eat mosquitoes, but like that's the thing, right? We did all of that. We taxed the railroads. We subsidized the shit out of trucking industry, where trucking basically had to pay nothing to use, the pathways to move goods from A to B. Well, of course, trucking's going to outperform freight rail. Duh. That's just basic economics. When did we have national railways? We did have the USRA in World Wars I and II, but we didn't keep it nationalized. No. I'm not a huge fan of. I think the interstate highway system is a tremendous waste of money. I think we just said we shouldn't have built it. It's that simple. Oh, the only reason we did is because President Eisenhower, when he was in a general, he saw how useful the German motorway system was for military applications. Of course, this is predicated on the idea that you would need to invade the United States, right? To move goods and services and parts of the military personnel from A to B. Well, wait a minute. Didn't we already successfully achieve all of that using rail in World War II? Wasn't World War II a masterclass on how the United States got logistics from everywhere in the country to the ports and basically became the arsenal of democracy? In what world would a war, it would have presumably been with the USSR, in what world would the USSR have been able to land and successfully require that level of mobilization to be a truck? It's stupid. Especially given that in the event of such a war, we'd probably be really, really short supply for oil, which would be necessary for all those trucks to move back and forth because we'd need all that diesel fuel. Ridiculous. No, the interstate highway system was a tremendous mistake. Interstate system was already built. Why destroy it? We could build way down tracks. Well, no. I'm agreeing there, right? The interstate, it's already been built. Destroying it would be pointless. But building it in the first place was 100% a bad idea. That's what I'm saying. When we chose to do that in the 50s instead of continue to modernize U.S. rail, which was the best in the world in 1945, we dug our own grave. We shot ourselves in the foot. Because we chose to do that, we became really addicted to oil. American oil consumption skyrocketed in the 50s and the 60s because of it. As a result, 1973 comes around, we side with Israel in the Yom Kippur War, we get a blockade from OPEC, and that sparks a decade of stagflation, which is why the US, most people do not remember the 1970s very fondly in this country. We had double-digit inflation, we had double-digit interest rates, and we had gas shortages. Well, why was that? Because we had fucked ourselves over. Busiest roads will lay down tracks on the road like Toronto does with their trams. Good. Good. I could never live in New York City. It's too expensive. It's a great place if you like the big bustling metropolis. I mean, New York City can't be beat. That's certainly a better dating market than what I've got, but shit. Does you support recreating the interstate system from a car to a railway system? No. I support letting the free market handle it and bullying the shit. Well, okay. Let the big four handle it in the sense that, don't nationalize them. I don't think nationalization would work very well, but I do support bullying the shit out of the big four to where make the penalties for blocking Amtrak trains much, much steeper and make there be a lot of penalties for precision scheduled railroading and for making everything single track, removing double tracks and all that jazz. Force the railroad companies, hey, look, you will make buku bucks because we're going to stop subsidizing the trucking industry. We're going to stop, screwing you guys over, but you got to fucking invest more in your infrastructure. Make the private companies invest in their own infrastructure. I'm a huge believer in free markets, so in general, I think the private companies will be able to do it a whole lot better than the U.S. government will. So, all right, let's do our planks. Yeah, I'm generally not a huge fan of big government projects. For the most part, they're wasteful. There's a lot of graft, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of inefficiency, there's a lot of bureaucracy. In general, the private companies do it better. However, they have to be properly motivated, properly incentivized to get them to do what you want to do. It's the nice thing about corporations. They're extremely predictable. Corporations will do what makes them money. That's the entire purpose of a corporation. It's not to have any other values besides turning profit. That's the entire purpose.
People forget that. And no, corporations aren't people. The whole point is that a corporation is a organization created to use, to turn either via service or infrastructure or industry to turn one good into another good, or to sell a good for profit, or to buy goods and then resell them for profit. It's how the free market works. We don't need more big government boondoggles. Disagree with that. Now, would I take nationalization over the status quo? Yes. Does that mean it's the option I would actually want? No. I think bullying the Big Four is very easy to do. Use nationalization as a threat to get the Big Four to do what you want. That way it doesn't cost the taxpayer shit. It's very easy. All you got to do is provide incentives. For every mile an hour, faster that Amtrak goes on a given railroad's track, and we have that data, give a tax break. All of a sudden, corporation's going to realize, oh, shit, it's within our self-interest to make sure Amtrak moves as fast as it fucking can. All of a sudden, Amtrak has priority now. Use carrots and use sticks. And if you get in the way of Amtrak, we'll fucking nationalize you. Easy. Interstate systems complete separate of rail entirely. Very big governments is the interstate of rail. No, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a national toll system and much higher fuel taxes. If you do that, demand on the interstate system will fall, and when it does, you all of a sudden have much lower maintenance costs because wear and tear is a lot slower. You're not going to need to build any more because demand is lower, right? If you take cars off the road, you don't need to build more lanes. So by doing that, you're creating a cost savings by giving people an alternative to driving. You say it was a federal highway. The other idea is very simple, toll roads. If you use massive parts of the interstate, you should pay a toll. This one seems pretty obvious to me. In fact, it's how most highways worked before the 1950s. You paid a toll to go a certain amount, and that toll paid for maintenance. Understanding one, yeah, my back is feeling better. We just about finished. We finished our abs, so this is sort of the Q&A section. We're just chilling, not a whole lot else to do. So we're having a good time. I'll bring the camera in a bit. Whoa, there we go. Try not to trip. That would be bad. There we go. Nice. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, welcome to why increase gas taxes and build more tolls, and the federal government can shut down its own federal highway down and turn it into a rail corridor. Because if we did that in the short term, it would be economically catastrophic. All of a sudden, the flow of goods would be drastically restricted because there isn't enough rail infrastructure to compensate for the sudden lack of trucking infrastructure. You have to make it a gradual transition, otherwise you get shocks. And shocks are really bad for the economy. So that's the general reason. It's the same reason, right? You don't want to implement you have to have a place to store your vehicle policy before building the housing first. That's what I'm saying, right? You have to, because the mistakes we made in the 20th century were so pervasive, you have to gradually fix them. You can't just make it happen overnight. If you do that, you're going to get shocks. You're going to get shocks to the system. That's a really great way to artificially create a recession. You don't want to do that. What's your stance on the U.S. police? That's a very broad question, and I think it really depends on what location. In general, I think one of the big problems with police in the social sense is that we ask our police officers to police stupid laws. For instance, cannabis possession should not be illegal, but because it is, we force our cops
to check for weed at traffic stops. And because of that, right, they're just doing their jobs, but they're putting a bunch of people in jail who don't fucking need to be in jail. Just one option. As far as other things, right? Speed traps, right? The reason people are speeding is because you've designed the highway infrastructure to not match the speed limit, or you've designed the road infrastructure to not match the speed limit. That's not a police problem. That's a traffic engineering problem. We've poorly designed our roads, and then, shocker of all shockers, you have loads and loads of traffic stops because people speed because the road isn't designed properly, and as a result, the cops spend all their time doing that instead of actually focusing on the crimes that are really important, things like rapes and murders and burglaries, stuff like that. I also do think that the police, we've polarized the issue. The police gets overly venerated and all mistakes are covered up in large parts of the country in the name of backing the blue. And then police are unfairly demonized in a lot of big, particularly progressive cities. And as a result, a lot of policemen are saying, fuck it, we're done. And as a result, you get things like looting and crime in a lot of downtowns. So it's varied. The US is such a big country, you can't just uniformly say all cops are bastards. You can't just uniformly say, oh, I always back the blue 100% of the time. That's reductive. It doesn't make sense. How are they able to get away with so much blatant crimes or very rarely get convicted of any crimes they commit? Easy. They're unionized. I'll keep it real simple for you. Right? Public sector unions, there are benefits to them and there are drawbacks to them. Very interesting how people are all for you, and this is very telling. A lot of people are for teachers' unions, and a lot of people who are for teachers' unions are against police unions, and the converse. You should either be for both or against both, for the same reasons. A teachers' union, most of the time, does not focus on improving teacher pay and teacher benefits. Rather, the teacher union spends most of its time defending the bad teachers. In the same way, a lot of police unions spend most... Didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. A lot of other police unions spend most of their time protecting bad cops. It's the same problem. It's public sector unions, right? If you're a public sector union, you don't have the competition that a private sector union does. As a result, it's a lot easier for those unions to become corrupt. And private sector unions can be very corrupt. The United Auto Workers is doing a splendid job at showing that. Go look at the scandals they've had with what was then Fiat Chrysler, now it's Stellantis, for proof of just how dirty some of those union bosses can be. And I'm actually pro-union, but it's a balance. If you're amazed that I have a nuanced take, you haven't been here very long. I am a centrist. So there you go. Do that, I accidentally sometimes be driving at a speed, see a sign that realize the limit is slower. My brain just wants to scream like, how are they going to set a speed limit of 20 on a road so wide it feels comfortable going double that? Exactly. That's not a cop problem. It is a traffic engineering problem. Unfortunately, we're trying to use cops as the solution to that. And as such, you get cops coming in and doing a lot of pullovers, a lot of speed checks. And tell me, right, a lot of the stories you see where cops are, doing something wrong happen when they're pulling over drivers. And a lot of this, yes, tends to happen in predominantly black and brown areas. Well, why is that? Well, a lot of the time, roads are poorly designed in a lot of those majority black, majority brown areas. It is all linked. And I'm not saying a traffic engineering fix is, fixing the traffic engineering is going to eliminate all these bad interactions between cops and minorities. Of course not. That would be ridiculous. But it will reduce the number. So it's an improvement. The people who say, oh, it's got to be a perfect fix. We've got to fix racism overnight. We've got to be openly anti-racist. That's not realistic. Even if you want to say it's what we should do, and you can make a moral argument for that, great. I live in the rural deep south. Good luck with that. Come down here and try that and see how it works. It's not your message will go over like a turd in a punch bowl. You gotta chip away at it. These are big systemic gradual problems, and they're going to require big systemic gradual fixes. Good cops are rare these days. I disagree with that. Democratic made cities made sure they're not good cops around. I disagree with that too. There are lots and lots of good cops. You got to remember, the media doesn't make money talking about people doing their jobs. People doing their jobs is unremarkable. The media makes money sensationalizing the times that people don't do their jobs correctly, right? The time that due to poor engineering, a bridge collapsed. That's national news. You don't hear about how many bridges don't collapse because that's boring. That's not going to get clickbait, right? It's the same thing with cops. It's the same thing with firemen. It's the same thing with teachers. It's the same thing with any workers, right? It's the same thing even with politicians. Yes, there are good politicians out there. There are politicians who genuinely try to make a positive difference. But what do you hear about? You hear about George fucking Santos because he's a fucking fraudster and a scumbag, and that's what brings in the money if you're media, right? Blaming just one side is odd. My point here is that, see a speed sign that says go 15, the road better be designed to make sure I go that. If it doesn't make sense, I ain't doing it. So now I've had to train myself because I work on a federal nuclear site. You want to talk about this principle taken to the nth extreme? The speed limit is 55. If you go 56, you will get pulled over. Do not, on Savannah River site grounds, go any faster than 55 miles an hour. Obey the speed limit. It's not worth it because that's the level of enforcement. You could argue those roads are designed poorly. I would agree, but that's not the situation there. So I've trained myself. I go 55. Now when I get off site, I go a little bit over, but it's flow of traffic, right? And I agree. If the speed limit's 55 on a highway that's clearly designed to go 70, most people are going to go 70. Yes, you have to design a road properly. Lots and lots of good cops don't outweigh, and I think it's a reporting issue. I agree. Just right. Lots of good cops don't excuse the behavior of bad cops, but the idea, I'm sorry, the phrase all cops are bastards is fucking moronic. Anyone who has had, a burglary stop by the police will tell you, oh, thank fuck they're here, right? Anyone who's had a rape stop by the police. There are great cops out there. There are also bad cops out there. If you see issues in black and white, it's just overly reductive and you're never going to find progress. And you're also never going to be happy at any progress that does come because you think it won't be good enough or you'll think it'll be a step in the wrong direction. Items like this just have nuance. Bad policing have increased in the last 10 years. Imagine the bad cops don't get caught on tape and still don't to this day. Cop friends and teachers left Vegas because of policies. I'm about to jump this ship too. Are you a cop, DJ? If so, thanks for sticking around. So I'll give you a good example, right? My little town, it's a small southern town of 1,800 people in the rural state of South Carolina. I actually have a strong and long-standing loathing of the city of Las Vegas. I detest Las Vegas, but that's an entirely different conversation. But the cops here in my little town, I don't know if you can hear that, but that's church bells in one of the 8 churches we have in this town, 7 of which are Baptist, 1 of which is non-denominational Protestant, I think. I'm Catholic. It's this kind of southern town. Hearing other people's anecdotal experiences are utterly useless and at worst, they make matters worse for you. It's a pity that that's your personal experience, but there are times where the police do really good work. So Vegas is becoming California. Idaho's looking nice. You're looking in the wrong area, man. The Californians are going to continue moving out as long as California has obscene housing costs. That's the reason. It's California's own problem that stems from mostly NIMBY upper middle class owners that make home ownership in the Golden State unaffordable. So a lot of middle class Californians are going to leave. And that's going to happen. It's already happened in Oregon, Washington, Arizona, and Nevada. It's going to happen to Idaho. It's going to happen to Utah. It's going to happen to Colorado. If you want to avoid that, come on down to Dixieland. They won't come here. I know they won't come here because they're fucking scared of the South. Come to South Carolina, I promise you. You won't have to worry about that. California needs to reform zoning laws and ship the stupid NIMBYs. Well, there's also a proposition that got passed. This is one of the downsides to the direct democracy California has. There's a proposition in place that has more or less frozen property taxes. As a result of that, those property taxes being frozen means it's a lot harder to justify selling houses. Well, if you're making it harder for the middle class to profit on all of those housing gains as a result of that, what's that going to mean? It's going to be a lot harder for housing to get redeveloped and for housing to densify. This is why you've got a city like San Jose with sky-high real estate prices, But at the same time, something like 90% of commercial residential land area, not commercial, sorry, just purely residential land area is single family home only. It's a combination of it's a combination of a lot of things occurring over decades. We got broken in our home, called the cops, took forever to arrive, they didn't really do much of anything and left. A week later we got a call that stopped the investigation because of no apparent leads. That's a pity. I don't know where you live, PO, but that is unfortunate. I know my cops, the cops in my town by name. I have a lot of faith in them. They do a good job. And I'll be honest, crime in my town is really low. The other part is, I'm a huge believer in the Second Amendment. This is one where I'm very conservative on. If someone's breaking into my home, that's where the shotgun comes out. Mr. 12 Gauge has a very good way of telling criminals to fuck off. In general, you know, if you're breaking into my house, if it's 2 in the morning, I hear footsteps, I'm pumping that shotgun, and if you don't fucking leave immediately, you're gonna get blasted. It's real fucking simple. I feel like you can work with single family homes, so accept defeat there and focus on establishing surface parking, need more infill development. Another really good one, I will credit the state of California, it's a bit late for having done this, but they're finally doing it, is preventing single family home only zoning laws to prevent cottages, like little side cottages in the backyards. That's a really great way to densify single family only neighborhoods, but keep the character of the neighborhood. Because yeah, I get it. A lot of NIMBYs, and that's what they are, but a lot of NIMBYs justifiably don't want to see their neighborhood change to become a bunch of fucking skyscrapers or a bunch of fucking, apartment buildings. I get that. But, if you have the occasional duplex, the occasional fourplex, the occasional cottage in the backyard, stuff like that, lofts and attics, stuff of that nature, that's technically multifamily housing, which should be legal, but it doesn't change the character of the neighborhood the same way that a giant apartment complex would. Everyone know the sound of a shotty getting wrecked. Haha, damn fucking right, baby, shall not be infringed. Logan can hop in here and just join the conversation. Well, okay, so this is the Q&A section. We've finished our workout. We're just kind of chilling now. So this is where I really enjoy. This is where I get to interact with my audience, just talk a little bit and enjoy. I feel like that's always been a straw man. I never understood the whole destroy the character of the neighborhood to stop duplexes and shit from being built in suburban neighborhoods. Pros and cons, right? So I agree in general. It can be a straw man and it can't be a straw man. So I would agree. A duplex or a fourplex here or there is not going to fucking change character in the neighborhood, apart from allowing lower, like people of lower socioeconomic status to be in the neighborhood. But if, let's say a row of 5, 6, 7 houses it gets bought out by a big company that's going to build a 5, 6 story apartment building there, oh, absolutely that would change the character of the neighborhood. I get why people wouldn't want that. So you got to find a balance. BG Buck 21, welcome to the bullpen. Thanks for the first time chat. Welcome on in. You can even have a 2 to 4 apartment building in a suburb. I've seen photos and it doesn't ruin the character of the neighborhood. I would say, yeah, in general, but I can understand those fears from a NIMBY perspective. And that's not to justify them. I think most of the time it is just NIMBYism and it's really unproductive. But I would in general go with, find compromise. What a surprise, the centrist says find compromise. But I think you're going to have a lot more practical success with things like duplexes, fourplexes, triplexes, and backyard cottages than you are with allowing for apartment buildings in residential neighborhoods. While I would love to densify everything overnight, you gotta go with what's actually feasible, both politically and practically. BG Buck 21, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the bullpen. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm really enjoying this talk, but I would like to get myself some protein powder because we're getting pretty close. So, it's up to you. Actually, before we go any further, I could also just raid end the stream now. It's been 3 hours, so maybe that's what I should do. Do we have any further questions? We'll just join you, take a break. Well, I mean, we were kind of at the end of the stream here. If you have things you want to ask BG Buck, by all means, go for it. Got to get my workout in. Hell yeah, DJ Jazzy Wolf. If you guys like what I do, by the way, and you want to check out more, come join the Discord. Boom, there you go. I think the key to winning people over is lots and lots of photos. Is how I've won over people in my town. Hell yeah, you're actually going out there and doing the hard work of urbanism. So mad respect to you for that. You know, that's good bull. BG Buck, if there's something you want to ask me, go for it. But we are kind of at the end of the stream, so I'm gonna probably look for someone to raid. See, I haven't raided the Holder Heck in a while. W. Ramir, Frenek, and Bam Bam I have. So I think we'll probably go with Holder. No, I was just messing. Oh, all right, cool. Well, then it looks like we're kind of reaching the end of the stream. So let me give you guys a bit of an update as to what's going to happen next. Today's Saturday. I will stream again tomorrow. It'll probably be a boxing stream. A little bit of high intensity, maybe some full body press, clean and jerks, stuff like that. And then we'll hit the boxing bag. We'll go from there. I think that's about it. Next week is going to be deload week, so it'll be our normal workouts, but it's 60-ish, 50 to 70% of the weight, because I'm going to be out in the great state of Texas at the end of the month, that last week, and I want to be fucking ready for that. So that's going to be the plan. We're going to raid the Holder Heck, and I want to make sure I get the name right. Raid message, as always, is Rush. So it's lowercase the, capital Holder. It's capital specific, and that's always annoying, so you got to check the Holder Heck. There we go. Okay. So we're raid the Holder Heck. It's been good, y'all. Thank you all very much for coming out. Thank you if you're a new follower. I appreciate it immensely. We had someone tip earlier. Thank you very much for the tips. As always, y'all, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your habits. Those habits form your values. And those values form an ethos that can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. If you would like to see more of me, come check me out on the Discord. I'm going to ask a quick question. Chandler Bong, we are about to raid. Make it fast. What you got? You got like 10 seconds. If not, you can DM me on Discord, okay? Or you can send me a whisper. Also, thanks for the first time chat. You got 5 seconds. Love you, Aggie. Thoughts on Spirit? Do you mean drink? Spirits? I can't really answer that in this short of a time, I'm afraid. Cleo, good to see you. Sorry, y'all. We're off. We're going to raid. Much love, y'all. I will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Big hug. Asking me a question literally after already raiding. All right, y'all. Good to see you, YouTube, as always. See you tomorrow.